Hi guys, good evening. I am Ilangovan, Axi.com online person for teaching zoology. So last class we have seen something about the reproductive health, what are the measures to be adapted to maintain a successful reproduction, and also how to keep the reproductive organs in a healthy conditions or in a hygienic conditions. Now one such method, actually the one now it is legalized in India, the medical termination of pregnancy. MTP. So what is MTP? When a person is doing it intentionally or voluntarily, the termination of pregnancy. Otherwise, nothing but actually the abortion of the fetus before attaining the full term is called MTP. It is a voluntary process, an intentional process. And what is the reason for that one? And if you are just taking the statistical data throughout the world, nearly 45 to 50 million MTPs are performed. Here is given the statement. 45 to 50 million MTPs throughout the world, throughout the year. And which accounts for every 1 in 5 persons. They are undergoing the process what is called actually the medical termination. So 1/5 of total number of conceived pregnancies, those who achieved pregnancies, out of this one, every 1/5 of individuals are undergoing the process of medical termination of pregnancy. That is not simply termination of pregnancy, whether it is medical termination or without medical termination. So in the village side, you know that one, it happens to occur without actually any permission from the medical officers. So they are doing it illegally. And for that only just actually the government of India has legalized this phenomenon, namely medical termination of pregnancy in the case of certain incidents where normally unprotected sexual behavior or because of the failure of condoms or the failure of contraceptives. In such cases we have received pregnancies. To terminate that one, they are doing that process. Now the government of India just legalized this MTP in the year 1971. What for? As people are doing this one willingly, just actually illegally, without actually the consultation of the doctor. So, particularly in the case of female feticides, as we are having a wrong notion, so to just actually eliminate the female individuals in the families, so they are doing that one. If a mother has a female fetus, after knowing that one, they are killing that child, killing that actually the fetus, the developing fetus by means of this termination. That is, if it is actually under the consultation of the doctor, then it is called medical termination. If it is being done without the consultation of the doctor, it is illegal. As the feticides, particularly the female feticides, illegal female feticides are increasing in India, which its frequency is reported to be high. In order to prevent this one, the government of India has actually made this legal one, that is legalized one, that is MTP in 1971. Why it is to be done? What is the need for it? So, in order to avoid or in order to get rid of pregnancies already happen, either because of casual unprotected sexual behavior and intercourse or because of the failure of the contraceptive methods. Sometimes you know that one, the contraceptive methods may fail. In such cases, there is a chance of pregnancy. So, in order to avoid this one, we have this medical termination. Either just to get rid of the pregnancies because of protected, unprotected sexual behavior, or because of actually the failure of the contraceptives normally used during coitus or even in the case of rapes also. Then the second one. Some cases, the pregnancy may be highly fatal either to the mother or to the fetus. That means the conceived pregnancy may be harmful either to the mother or to the fetus. In such cases also it is a must to remove the fetus from the womb of the mother. So it is a legal one, it is a must one. That is why we are following the medical termination of pregnancy if the pregnancy is harmful either to the mother or to the fetus. And normally when you have to do this one, this MTP are considered as actually safe relatively safe when during the first trimester, normally after the 12 weeks. If anything is being done during the second trimester, that is between 12 to 24 weeks, then it is highly fatal to the mother. Not only to the fetus but also to the mother, leading to even the death of the mother. So there is a right period of what is called medical termination of pregnancy is only during the first trimester and not during the second trimester. It may cause damage to the mother during that period. Now, so this is about MTP. It is legalized in India since from 1971 in order to avoid the pregnancies if it is harmful to the mother or to the fetus, or to get rid of any unwanted pregnancies because of unprotected sexual behavior or intercourse, or because of rapes, or even if just actually the condoms or any other contraceptives failed. In such cases they are doing that one. So another reproductive health, you have to know or you should know something about the diseases related to the genital organs. So formerly these diseases which are transmitted through the sexual organs or because of sexual contact, or actually they were called as venereal diseases, VD. But now the name has been replaced or substituted or reformed as sexually transmitted disease, STD. So those diseases are any infections which are transmitted through sexual contact, or collectively known as sexually transmitted diseases or venereal diseases, even also called as reproductive tract infections or TI, reproductive tract infections or STD or VD. And all these sexually transmitted diseases are caused either by bacteria or by a virus or by a protozoa. So let's see some of the bacterial diseases, not many. We are taking only just a few things only related to our subject, related to our topic. Those diseases caused by bacteria. So here I represented three. The most dangerous one, syphilis. It is caused by a corkscrew-like bacterium. A corkscrew-like bacterium, Treponema pallidum. This is Treponema pallidum. So it is being transmitted either directly or just indirectly. So there are two types of actually, that is syphilis, congenital syphilis, venereal syphilis. A venereal syphilis is the one which is being transmitted through sexual contact. And the congenital syphilis is the one which is being transmitted from the infected mother to the fetus during development. So we have congenital as well as venereal. So venereal syphilis because of sexual contact, and congenital because of transmission from mother to fetus during development through the placenta. And now actually in the case of congenital syphilis, it has caused out a number of stages, primary, secondary and tertiary stages, etc. And the symptoms during the tertiary stage are very conspicuous, very distinct also. We have in these cases brain damage, spinal cord damage, we have the blindness, then loss of hearing, then one condition what is called insomnia. Insomnia. This is nothing but loss of sleep. Insomnia, loss of sleep. So sleepless night. So these are some of the symptoms related to syphilis. The main symptom it causes blindness. Even it leads to what is called arthritis, the inflammation of the joints. Then gonorrhea, another bacterial disease caused by Neisseria gonorrhoeae or gonorrhoeae. And that one normally causes infections. The symptoms are different for male and female. The main symptoms we have discharge, vaginal discharge in the case of female, yellow discharge in the case of male. In addition to that one, they have painful urination. Some sort of painful urination you have while urinating, and also arthritis, fever, headache, etc. Then chlamydiasis. This is another bacterial disease. Chlamydiasis caused by Chlamydia trachomatis. Here also the symptoms are itching, discharge, and then also arthritis, etc. So these are the three major bacterial sexually transmitted diseases. One is syphilis, gonorrhea. So syphilis normally causes complete blindness in the case of children who are born to an infected mother. Then other disorders I mentioned, gonorrhea and chlamydiasis. Then viral diseases. One is viral herpes, or simply called as genital herpes, as it is affecting mainly the genital organs caused by HSV2, a DNA virus. The next one, hepatitis B. So hepatitis B not only affects the liver, causing carcinoma, and also causes the disease in the genital organs caused by hepatitis B virus, the same one responsible for causing hepatitis. Know that one, hepatitis B is more dangerous than AIDS. So the symptoms are more acute, more dreadful when compared to the AIDS. Now the next one, AIDS, a common one, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome caused by HIV virus, and that is also one of the factors coming under the sexually transmitted disease because of the sexual contact between a normal and the infected individuals. So these are all some of the viral and bacterial diseases, only we have a number of disorders. Then, protozoan. So there is one protozoan disease, a sexually transmitted disease, what is called trichomoniasis. Trichomonas vaginalis, that is the name of the parasite which causes trichomoniasis. First of all, you have to know that what any word ending with the suffix "sa" is referring to the name of the disease caused by that organism. For example, amoebiasis, caused by amoeba. Then also, for example, ascariasis, caused by Ascarias lumbricoides. So these are all some of the clues to understand the name of the disease. That is, the name of the organism plus suffix "sa" is referring to the nature of the disease caused by that organism. So trichomoniasis is nothing but actually a protozoan parasite causing the sexually transmitted disease, which is being transmitted through sexual contact. Then, so there are curing methods available for all the disorders, all the sexually transmitted diseases, but for hepatitis B, it is impossible. Even the genital herpes and even HIV infections are completely curable. HIV infections related to the sexual contact. But the hepatitis B, once it is actually affecting the individual, it cannot be cured. Even though antigen is available, the Australian antigen is available for this one, it doesn't actually work best. It can be prevented by means of vaccine before the onset. Okay. Now what are the symptoms? You have early symptoms as well as advanced symptoms. What are the early symptoms? Because of either bacterial or protozoal or viral diseases, that is the sexually transmitted diseases. First of all, itching sensation in the genital organs, in the external genital organs. I mentioned already the fluid discharge. In the case of female, it is called vaginal discharge, and in the case of male, it is called yellow discharge from the urinary part. Then slight pain, swellings in the external genital organs. So these are all some of the early symptoms. So in the case of advanced symptom, we have developed a disease affecting mainly the pelvic region, pelvic inflammatory disease, PID, pelvic inflammatory disease. That means organs found in the pelvic regions are being inflamed because of the infection. So not only the uterus, not only actually the male reproductive internal organs, but also the organs found in the pelvic regions are inflamed. That is why it is called pelvic inflammatory disease, PID. And abortions. The child may not reach the full term of development. It is being aborted. Then stillbirth. The meaning for that one, the individuals, the child is born, but it already dead. That is called as a stillbirth. So because of the infection in the case of mother, the child, the developing fetus inside is already dead. When it is born, it is normally in dead condition. That is called stillbirth. Ectopic pregnancies. It is a peculiar condition I mentioned already while doing tubectomy. Sometimes you know that one what happened, the fertilized egg is already there in the fallopian tube. And if the development is taking place in the fallopian tube other than uterus, then it is called ectopic pregnancy. The development of fetus or pregnancy or conception in the fallopian tube. That is called ectopic pregnancy. Even it also may lead to infertility. So it is the inability of the individuals to reproduce. Though they are fertile, they have some sort of problems either in the production of the sperms or to inseminate the normal female partner, infertility. So they are not sterile. They have the ability, we are going to that one next chapter about this infertility. So they are fertile but unable to produce normal count of sperms. That is happening because of the sexually transmitted disease. It affects both male and female reproductive organs, making them infertile. And sometimes you have cancer also. Cancer in the reproductive tract, either in the uterus or in the case of prostate glands or in the case of, for example, urinary path in the case of males. So these are some of the latest symptoms developed. I mentioned already, even in the case of latest symptoms, the complete blindness. Because of syphilis, we have complete blindness, loss of hearing. Even we have, for example, the brain damage, spinal cord damage. The person is very sick and leading to coma conditions also. So we have in which group of people we have the incidence of this STD is very high. So the incidence of the frequency of this sexually transmitted disease is reported to be very high only in the case of young people, that is between the age group of 15 to 24 years. The incidence of actually this one is more only in the younger generations than in the adult people, because they do not know about actually the sexual or reproductive health, and they do not know about actually the hygienic conditions and what will happen if they have abnormal sexual intercourse. And that is why we have what is called actually the reproductive health to be taught to the children about how to maintain their reproductive organs in a hygienic condition and how to follow a protected sexual behavior. Now, infertility. So what do you mean by infertility? I mentioned already the inability of the male and female partners, both, to produce children in spite of unprotected sexual cohabitation. So normally they are doing actually sexual cohabitation without any protection. Even in such cases also there is infertility. So normally most of the people are following only unprotected sexual cohabitation, sexual intercourse, unprotected one. So in the case of such one also we have infertility, inability. So you have, if you are talking about the fertility of the individual, there are two words. One is called fertility, another one fecundity. What is fertility and what is fecundity? What is fertility? What is fecundity? So the fertility, the word refers to the ability of the individual to reproduce. They are not sterile. The ability to reproduce is called fertility. And what do you mean by fecundity? So, the ability to produce normal count of sperms, the ability to produce the normal egg, then the condition is called fecundity. So, the individual should be fertile, at the same time he or she actually should be having the phenomenon fecundity, ability to produce normal count of sperms in the case of male, and the ability to produce a normal egg in the case of female. So, the inability to produce children in spite of unprotected sexual cohabitation is called what is known as infertility. They are not sterile, remember that one, they are fertile, but some problem in the production of sperms in male, or some problems in the production of eggs in the case of female, or even the uterus is not suitable. It doesn't provide proper environment for the development of the fetus. This is also one of the problems why some females are infertile, though they have the ability to produce the egg, but the environment is not suitable, the uterine environment. In some cases, actually the environment is suitable, they cannot be able to produce a normal egg. So in both the cases, that condition is called infertility. Then what are the reasons? There are so many reasons, because of physical, psychological, emotional, even congenital diseases. Some people are consuming the drugs, the alcohol, and some immunological disorder. So it may be physical or psychological, even emotional also. We have, because of congenital diseases, the diseases transmitted from the parents to young ones, or from the mother to the fetus, and the immunological disorder or even psychological disorder. Some people are having, so in most cases we have psychological disorder, and that may be one of the causes for infertility in the case of both male and female. Now, to overcome this one, what is called infertility, we have one process. To make the infertile couples to produce young ones, they could be assisted. And such a technology or the techniques that is normally used to assist the young couple who are infertile and make them to produce young ones is called ART, assisted reproductive technology. Assisted reproductive technology. So we are providing just some sort of actually technology to make the young couple who are infertile, either the male partner or female partner or both. So in such cases, we are following a method. They are assisted by a technological method, namely assisted reproductive technology, or those collected calls technologies or ART. So what are the different assisted reproductive technologies? One such method nowadays we are following is nothing but in vitro fertilization. In vitro fertilization, or commonly called as the test tube babies. So what we are doing here, so any fertilization that is being performed outside the body is called in vitro fertilization. And you know that one, in vitro culture and in vivo culture. So in vitro culture, culturing of certain cells outside the body. In vivo culture, culturing of cells inside the body. Like that one here, normally fertilization occurs inside the body, then it is called in vivo. If it occurs in the female reproductive tract, then it is called in vivo. On the other hand, if it occurs in just in the laboratory, outside the body of the female, then it is called in vitro fertilization, the one which is being done outside. And after fertilization, just outside the body, once the embryo is formed, it is being transferred to the uterus, and that is called embryo transfer, or simply called as ET. So fertilization outside the body followed by embryo transfer is actually one such important method what we are following nowadays. This is commonly known as test tube baby program. Test tube baby program. Here we are not actually just taking the entire development outside the body, only up to a minimum stage of development, embryological development. Say an example in the case of human body, up to 8 cell stage. We are making the sperm and egg to be fertilized in a medium outside the body in the laboratory. Then they are allowed to just undergo cleavage or division. Once the embryo reaches 8 cell stage, then the embryo has been transferred to the uterus for implantation, and such a method is called in vitro fertilization. So why we are taking only up to 8 cell stage? In the case of animal cells, only 8 cell stage or up to 8 cell stage only the cells are totipotent. And after 8 cell stage the cells are said to be pluripotent. That is why we are keeping the embryo of 8 cell stage in the uterus of the mother for further development. Now what we are doing here? So from the wife and sperms from either the husband or from a donor are collected. And the sperms and eggs are allowed to they are allowed to be induced, or simply they are induced to form a zygote under stimulated conditions in the laboratory by providing what we call this one, just the laboratory medium. You know that one, by this method we form test tube baby. So the first test tube baby was made or experimentally just done by 2 people, Edwards and Steptoe, in 1978, July. And just actually the child was born, a female child, Louise Brown, and that child was female. And in India the same year in 1978, just after 2 or 3 months in Kolkata, one individual was born. That child was also a female, called as Durga. So the first female child in Kolkata in India was named as Durga, and the first female child all over the world in British, that is called as Louise Brown. That is in 1970, performed by Edwards and Steptoe. These 2 people normally perform that test tube baby program and made the first child, the test tube baby child. So now actually we also, so what we are doing it, either the embryo is implanted directly on the uterine wall, or the embryo at the stage, either the zygote or the embryo with the 8 cell stage being placed in the fallopian tube, so that they can move on their own, migrate on their own towards the uterus and get implanted on their own on the uterine wall. And such a method is called zygote intrafallopian transfer. Zygote intrafallopian transfer, or simply ZIFT, ZIFT. So the zygote or early embryos, I mentioned already, up to 8 cell stage, could then be transferred into the fallopian tube. So they are doing it either just it is best method by placing the embryo that is in the fallopian tube, because they are moving on their own way and they are getting implanted on the wall of the uterus on their own. It is the best one because they are doing everything on their own. But if you are just, even we can also do it directly implanting the zygote or just what is called this embryo with 8 blastomeres on the wall of the uterus. It is another method. But out of these methods, the first method is very effective by placing the zygote or the embryo in the fallopian tube so that they can travel through the fallopian tube, reaching the uterus and getting implanted on their own. This is called zipped. Then another one, intrauterine transfer, I mentioned earlier. So what is zipped? We are placing in the fallopian tube. Or the second method, IUT, intrauterine transfer, we are placing the embryos directly on the wall of the uterus so they get implanted for further development. So embryos with more than 8 blastomeres are transferred into the uterus for further development. They are placed directly. The previous one, they are moving on their own and getting implanted, but here we are making the embryos to be implanted on the wall of the uterus. Then we are using not only just actually the embryos formed outside the uterus by in vitro fertilization. We are also using the embryos formed inside the body of another female, what we call this one in vivo fertilization. So the embryos formed inside the body of the female by means of in vivo fertilization can also be used for transfer into the uterus of infertile female. So the second method, embryos formed by in vivo fertilization, could also be used for such a transfer to assist those couples who cannot conceive. This is what we have. Okay, these are all the different methods of making the individuals to be infertile. What are other categories? So the first one is zip, the second one intrauterine transfer, the third one gamete intrafallopian transfer. So in the case of people who are unable to produce a normal egg, what we have to do, we have to take a ovum collected from a donor, a suitable donor. The ovum collected, so in such people, those are actually infertile, the ovary is unable to produce a normal egg. In such cases, we are getting the egg from a donor, a suitable donor, and the egg is to be placed in the fallopian tube. Now, the sperms are allowed to reach the egg. By normal fertilization in the fallopian tube, a zygote is formed. The zygote is passing through, that is the fallopian tube, reaching the uterine wall and get implanted. This method is called GIFT, gamete intrafallopian transfer. In the previous method, ZIP, the zygote after fertilization or the embryo after fertilization outside the body is being placed in the fallopian tube. Here we are placing the egg received from a donor in the fallopian tube of infertile female. And because she is unable to produce the normal egg, then insemination, and because of coitus, the sperms could reach the fallopian tube and may fertilize the egg, leading to the formation of the zygote. Now the zygote is moving towards the uterus and getting implanted on the wall of the uterus. So this is the one what we have, what is called GIFT, gamete intrafallopian transfer. Then intracytoplasmic sperm injection, ICS, intracytoplasmic. This is a direct injection. It is most advanced method. So in this case, we can just actually inject the suitable sperm, a desirable sperm, into the cytoplasm of the egg. This is what is called the micro injection. The micro injection of a egg, actually there is a sperm, or only with its nucleus, either the entire sperm or with its nucleus alone, just be injected into the cytoplasm. This is called intracytoplasmic sperm injection. So it is also possible nowadays. So it is a very accurate method because we are selecting only a particular sperm, one sperm only we are injecting into the desirable sperm. But in the previous cases, we are introducing many sperms. One sperm may get fertilized the egg, and that is leading to the formation of the zygote. Now the last method, artificial insemination. So in the case of infertility cases, normally what will happen? Either the male partner is unable to inseminate the female, or such a male has what is called the low fecundity. That means unable to produce normal sperm count. So it is being done in the case of male partner who is unable to inseminate the female, or he can produce a sperm of low count, a less number. So in such cases, we are following this method, what is called artificial insemination. Here we are collecting the semen either in aggregated form or in droplets or in just in fragmented form, either in whole or in aggregated form or just in the fragments or in droplets. The semen that is being inseminated artificially into the uterus of the female. That is why it is also called intrauterine insemination. Simply it is called insemination is nothing but the introduction of the sperm into the female uterine tract. And if it is being directly just introduced into the uterus, then it is called intrauterine insemination. This is also another method just to make or to assist the couple, that is assisted reproductive technologies ART, to assist the couple who are not having a normal fertility or normal ability to produce animals. So these are some of the things to be followed. To be frank with it, so it is to be actually followed at your level. You have to follow the sex hygienic procedures, and then only you will be having a better future in in the near coming time. So with this, I just concluded the reproductive health. Now, if you have any questions, you are just free to ask any questions related to the topic. And with this I conclude. I will pass on to the next chapter, another important chapter, what we have, evolutionary process.